Pioneers are explorers. Pioneers are innovators. Pioneers are leaders. We are Marietta College. We are pioneers. Find out how you can become a PIO at www.marietta.edu.
Coming up today on NewsCenter 15, murder trial location moved.
78-year-old Texas death row inmate faces execution.
We'll have these stories and more. NewsCenter 15 starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Thursday's edition of NewsCenter 15. I'm Addison.
And I'm Ray.
Topping our news this afternoon. The first execution since COVID hit in 2019 has been scheduled. Tennessee is planning to administer a lethal injection to 72-year-old Oscar Smith. Smith is scheduled to die for the 1989 killings of his estranged wife and her teenage sons. Smith has maintained that he is innocent. Smith's execution would be the first of 5 planned by Tennessee for 2022 and would resume the state's quick pace of putting inmates to death before the pandemic.
The Kristen Smart murder trial is being moved nearly 150 miles after a ruling last month that her accused killer shouldn't get a fair trial in St. Louis Obispo County. The judge announced Wednesday that the trial of Paul Flores will be held in Monterey County. Flores is the last person to see Smart, who vanished in 1996 from California Patriotic State University after a party. His father, Ruben Flores, is charged with helping dispose of Smart's body, which has never been found. Both have pled not guilty.
I wonder what the weather looks like today.
Here to provide a first look at our current weather report is Landon.
Well, much like how today's newscast started off with some drab and dreary stories, we started out our day in the Middle Ohio Valley with some drab and dreary weather. We had some rain showers earlier in the day, but today it's mostly going to feel like 55 degrees with an expected high of 64 with some cloudy conditions. The UV index shows that it's level 3, which is moderate, a very healthy level. The winds will be running around the southwest at 9 miles per hour with a humidity of 67%, and it's going to be steadily rising soon. And we have now gotten to a consistent pattern of the sun rising and setting, with the sunrise for today being around 6:38 a.m. and the sun will be setting about 9 minutes after 8 o'clock in the evening. Now, earlier we started out the day with some light rain showers, and that pretty much tapered off about 20-25 minutes ago. But as our week continues, we'll be finding that our citizens here in the Middle Ohio Valley will be getting a little hot under the collar. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when I come back for the 5-day forecast later on in the program. So until then, back to you guys at the desk.
Texas's oldest death row inmate faces execution for killing a Houston police officer nearly 32 years ago during a traffic stop. 78-year-old Carl Wayne Butian was sentenced to death for the June 1990 fatal shooting of Houston police officer James Irby. Butian's attorneys say he is responsible for Irby's death, but argue his execution on Thursday would be unconstitutional. State and federal courts have turned Butian's request to stop his execution.
Parents of a transgender teen have filed a lawsuit seeking to overturn an Alabama law that makes it a crime for doctors to treat trans youth under 19 with puberty blockers or hormones to help affirm their gender identity. The lawsuit was filed Tuesday in Montgomery Federal Court, several days after 2 previous lawsuits were redrawn. Plaintiffs in the suit are 4 families with children diagnosed as being transgender, ranging from ages 12 to 17. 2 doctors and a clergy member.
Coming up, InfoWars host trial delayed.
And honoring the passing of a legendary musician.
Stay with us.
Hey, this is Kevin Love from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, many of us feel anxious. Mindfulness can help you ease those feelings. My nonprofit is partnering with Headspace to offer free content to help you stress less. Head to kevinlovefund.org/headspace.
Here's to the straggly ones, the first ones. But hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones, and the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
Alex Jones, the InfoWars host, was set to have a trial next week, which would decide how much he would pay the families of the Sandy Hook shooting. This delay is happening after 3 of Jones' businesses declared bankruptcy. Jones was found guilty of false claims in October he made regarding the Sandy Hook shooting, stating that the shooting was staged. An attorney for 2 of the families called the tactic of filing bankruptcy ridiculous and one that would ultimately fail.
A federal report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office released Wednesday on political interference within the United States. Top health agencies indicated some workers from the agencies observed incidents of political interference, but they went unreported due to fear of retaliation or lack of knowledge for how to report. The CDC, the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, and the Office of the Assistant Secretary of Preparedness and Response are included in the report.
Johnny Depp resumed his testimony against his ex-wife Amber Heard in the defamation case Wednesday. During his testimony, Depp accused Heard of demeaning him and calling Depp names that would then turn into arguments. He said during one of the arguments in 2015, Heard threw a bottle at Depp that broke and severed a finger. He said the incident was like a mental breakdown and felt like the abuse he faced from his mother. Depp said even though the relationship was volatile, he stayed to see if the relationship could be fixed, and because Heard mentioned suicide.
Fans are paying tribute to musician Prince today on the 6-year anniversary of the accidental fentanyl overdose that caused his death. Since his passing, many of Prince's charity donations have come to light. His infamous Paisley Park recording studio and complex hosting a special charity concert Thursday to honor and remember the artist. Proceeds will go to local underprivileged youth.
Coming up, New Jersey opens up recreational marijuana marketplace.
We'll also get the latest news from Hollywood.
Feeling a little bit cool today. As we get to our weekend, it'll be getting warmer. Find out more when I come back for the 5-day forecast. Stay tuned.
Where are we?
We're at Marietta College.
This is where we live at Marietta College.
When kids need medical care, they face life-changing experiences. They miss out on the things that make being a kid fun. Starlight Children's Foundation programs entertain and inspire hospitalized kids. Learn more at starlight.org.
Marietta, a place some people call home.
A place of athletes.
A place of discovery.
A place for the future.
Your plan.
Your future.
Go Pios.
Marijuana marketplace is open for business. Recreational sales of cannabis for adults 21 and older started Thursday, with the first alternative treatment centers opening early in the day. The start of the market comes a week after Democratic Governor Phil Murphy announced that the state regulators had cleared the way for recreational sales at 7 centers that had already offered medical cannabis. New Jersey is among 18 states, plus the District of Columbia, with legalized recreational marijuana markets. New Jersey is the first among its closest neighbors to begin recreational sales.
The Federal Aviation Administration is reviewing a communications breakdown that led police to think an aircraft carrying military parachutes for a baseball stadium stunt was a probable threat. Law enforcement official says the FAA did not provide the required notification to the patrol police that a plane would be circling overhead, which prompted an urgent alert Wednesday evening to evacuate the complex. The plane carried members of the U.S. Army Golden Knights who parachuted into Nationals Park for a pre-game demonstration. The FAA says it will conduct a thorough and expeditious review. Many people who work at the Capitol still are on edge more than a year after the deadly January 6th insurrection.
The Biden administration is making it easier for refugees fleeing Russia's war on Ukraine to come to the United States from Europe while trying to shut down an informal route through northern Mexico that's emerged in recent weeks. A program announced Thursday will streamline refugee applications for Ukrainians and others fleeing from the war, but will no longer routinely guarantee entry to those who show up at the U.S.-Mexico border seeking asylum, as thousands have done since the invasion started. The U.S. says it expects to admit up to 100,000 refugees from Ukraine, and about 15,000 have come since February 24th invasion, mostly through Mexico. We got plenty of movies news coming up today.
Coming up, here's Landon with the Hollywood Minute.
Thanks, guys. Well, it looks like the next Fast and Furious movie is going Roman, and I don't mean Tyrese Gibson's character. Vin Diesel revealed on Instagram the title of the 10th film, the franchise is Fast X. It's due in theaters on May 19th in 2023. In other news, a state investigation has found the Rust movie crew willfully violated various safety rules on the New Mexico set last October, when actor Alec Baldwin fatally shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The reporter says the film's production management team knew gun safety procedures were not being followed, and the crew, quote, demonstrated plain indifference to employee safety, end quote. The state has fined the production company nearly $137,000, the maximum allowed by state law. Lastly, The Duke, starring Jim Broadbent and Helen Mirren, is based on the true story of a taxi driver who stole a Goya portrait from the National Gallery in London. Angelica Film Center theaters are offering 2-for-1 tickets starting on Friday, this Friday in fact, as part of the Bring a Friend Back to the Movies campaign. Info at angelica.filmcenter.com. That's all in Hollywood. I'm Landon Santini. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Landon. Now we'll head back to Landon for a look at the extended forecast.
How does it look out there, Landon?
Well, it looks like it hasn't been that long since we last saw each other, but now that we're seeing each other again, I'll tell you a little bit about the weather. As you can see, as I mentioned earlier this morning, our day started off with some drab and dreary temperatures. And we had a lot of rain too, but that's since calmed down. As you can see, it's been moving away from our state of Ohio, going through our neighboring states, the tri-state area of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. It looks like our good friends in Pittsburgh are getting hit with the bulk of it, and it's heading up past our neighbors in Toronto. And as you can see, we in Marietta have pretty much finished off our bout with the rain today, and it's now Parkersburg's problem to deal with as we continue on through the rest of the day. They shouldn't have to deal with it very long, though. But as we look at our 5-day forecast, we can see that although we're feeling relatively cool right now, as we start to get towards our weekend, temperatures are going to start getting warmer. On Friday, we'll be experiencing more cloudy conditions with an expected high of 73. Our weekend will be the warmest it's been in quite a long time, with a high of 84 and very sunny conditions, with those conditions continuing on into Sunday. So, yeah, it's going to be the warmest weekend we've had since last year. And it'll start to taper off a bit as we get into the work week on Monday with a lower temperature of 76 and a 60% chance of rain. So we'll get a break from that for the weekend at least. And the week will continue as temperatures continue to drop with an expected high of 59, low of 43, and some more cloudy conditions. So as Marietta College gets into their last week of classes before finals next week, we'll have a bit of a chance to, go out and do some stuff and have some fun in the sun, as it's going to be the warmest weekend we've had in quite a while and the best chance to do that. And we'll get a bit of a chance to cool down next week before we got to start preparing for our finals. So enjoy the warm weather while you can, because once your finals are done, there'll be plenty more of it to come, I'm sure. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Until then, I'm Landon Santini. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Landon. When we come back, Grant Moore will join us with an update from the world of sports.
See you in a few.
James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course.
He's reaching, but he pushes it away. He's approaching a plate of iced cookies. He blows right by him.
Oh, the fridge.
Looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle.
Now he's just got to get out of there.
Look what dropped from the sky.
Don't do it, Dennis. That's the way you execute a Midnight Snack Run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Marietta College, home of the pioneers. A small town on the Ohio River with a tight-knit community and tons of opportunity. Find a home here at Marietta College. Bring forth a pioneer.
What are we gonna do? Ta-da! All right. Come on, every pony.
Liza, I just love how ponies are better together.
Me too. Same thing with Girl Scouts, Kamiko. Every day they make each other shine a little brighter.
And they make the world around them a better place. So join Girl Scouts.
And be a part of the friendship and magic.
And now we're back with Grant Moore for a look at sports.
What are we seeing out there?
I got the rundown right now. The struggling Cincinnati Reds start off the year to a league worst 2-11 record. They have currently lost 9 straight games. The Reds post a stunning 179 batting average and a 5.77 earned run average, which is a league worst. Cincinnati is hopeful to turn this losing streak around when they come back home and have a 6-game home stand with the 3 games with the St. Louis Cardinals and 3 against the San Diego Padres. The NBA playoffs are back and have a 3-game slate for tonight, and the round is underway with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves facing off tonight with the series tied 1-1. The Utah Jazz host the Dallas Mavericks tonight, as well as the series tied 1-1. The final game of the night has the Denver Nuggets hosting the Golden State Warriors, with the Warriors taking a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. The NFL draft is just a week away, and it looks to be a solid draft class. The draft is expected to be mainly defensive draft, with a lot of big-name players such as Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan University and Travion Walker of Georgia University. Big names from the offensive side of the ball are 2 former Ohio State Buckeyes, receivers Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. They both were around 1,000 receiving yards and 10-plus touchdowns. For now, that's all I have in the world of sports. I'm Grant Moore. Back to you guys at the desk.
Grant, now we have Landon joining us at the table for our last look at the weather.
Well, in basic summary of what I've been saying throughout the entire show, is we're experiencing relatively cool temperatures right now with low 50s, early 60s. But as we get closer and closer into the weekend, as early as tomorrow, in fact, with the most potent of the temperatures being Saturday and Sunday, it will be hands down the warmest weekend we have had since last year, I would say, with highs of 83 to 84 roughly. So yeah, it's definitely, this is going to be the best weekend of all the ones we've had lately to go outside and do something, especially since it seems like every other week this past month or so we've had snow or rain in some capacity. Lovely weather we're having this spring.
Any big plans?
Oh, I'm going to be attending a charity event this weekend called Dancing with the Docs, which is going to be held at People's Bank Theater, not very far from here. It's a charity that's going to be done in support of the Ronald McDonald House's locations in Charleston, West Virginia, and Columbus. So you all come out, you can see doctors and dancers duking it out in a Dancing with the Stars style competition. It's a lot of fun, and you raise a lot of money for a lot of good people. What about you guys? I know you've got 1 week of classes next week before finals week, the first week of May, and that's always a stressful time for people here on the campus.
Yep, we got finals week coming up, and then a lot of track left. So how about you, Ray?
I'm surviving right now. I don't lie to you, just surviving.
Trying to get through the end of the semester.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the end of the semester is always a very bittersweet time, and it's also a bittersweet day for us here at WCMO because today is not only the final show of our season, but it's also the day that we say goodbye to one of our own. Today is the last day of our station manager's Sam Rubadoo before she graduates as part of the class of 2022. Any of you guys want to say anything about her?
Just a big thanks to her. Everything we do, couldn't do it without her. So awesome stuff from her. With that, that's going to be all our time we have today. So thanks for joining us for our last Thursday edition of WCMO TV, Channel 15 at noon 30 and 6:30.
If it wasn't for
From
Sam,
all of us here at the
we
station,
wouldn't be here right now.
We wish you a great weekend.
Thanks, Sam.
Miss you, Sam.
Sorry, buddy.